Yo, yo.
Yo, yo. What up? Your mic is really loud. You could turn down your gain a little bit because you got background noise.
How about now?
Can you hear me?
How about now?
Turn down your gain.
Well, I'm echoing through your feed.
I'm not talking about an echo. I'm talking about. Okay, hold on. I'll turn mine down a little. Okay, talk.
Okay, how about now?
Talk to me a little bit.
How you doing? What you're saying? Sunday evening.
Okay, could be just feedback from my TV. I'm turning it down. Listen, the other week when I said that there's interference coming in from one of the microphones.
Yes.
Oh, we're live right now? Oh,
yeah, we are live.
I'm not even looking in the camera. Well, luckily I wasn't going to say anything. We're just going to talk about some facts. But, okay, anyway, I'll still say what I was saying. Okay. Yeah, I'll put my camera. My icon is so small, I can't really tell. Do I look centered? Do I look okay? What about my volume? Are you hearing me fine?
Yeah, you're good.
Actually, it looks like my mic is covered up. You still hear me okay?
I still hear you fine. It's just I'm hearing myself in your background.
Oh, okay. Do you have independent control of your microphone gain? Are you using for instance, do you have like a preamp or a sound card?
I do. I have the mic running for a preamp.
So I think that you will have a clearer signal if you reduce your gain a little bit.
I've already reduced it 25%. Let me try some more.
Okay. I mean, I'll tell you if all of a sudden you're quiet. Go ahead. Let me hear you talk.
All right, can you hear me? Can you hear me better now, or is it
better now? Yeah, no, it's better. It's better now.
Okay, good.
You killed some of the background noise. So what I was saying the other week when I called you guys Dinobots, it's because I said there's interference coming in one of the mics. And then you guys acted like I said the mic wasn't working. Like what I was hearing is like a little tiny radio signal being picked up, some music being picked up, and I think it's probably like an analog signal being picked up by one of your cables.
Well, what's funny is what's funny is
yeah, well, it's not funny actually because what's funny is that you didn't listen for it. You were just like, oh, everything seems to be fine. Like. I was talking about interference. You have to put headphones on and then listen carefully to the sounds. But instead, you're just like, whoa, I can hear everybody. As if I said somebody's mic is not on, which is not what I said.
This is correct. Welcome to another week of children.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why I keep going like this to try to center myself. So eventually I'll realize it's the opposite direction.
You're like playing.
Please proceed with the introduction. Yeah, I'll figure it out eventually. Over to you, DJ Spinister.
Over to myself. It is February 13th, 2022 on the Super Bowl Sunday, as we have another episode of Children of Primus. Or another episode of Freestyle Frenzy Sunday, brought to you by the Children of Primus.
To be 100% accurate.
This is correct.
This is terrible lighting for me. Overhead lighting.
Perfectly clear on what I see.
Oh yeah, I don't mean it. I just mean it's not beauty lighting. It's clear.
Oh dear. It's not your good side.
There's overhead lighting, so it's getting all the shadow.
It's true.
It's probably good for muscle definition.
You get into like the real YouTube setups, and they got at least 5 or 6 lightings for different angles. One light to to complement the other light.
That's right. You don't want your lights not to complement each other. Look, it's good lighting for muscles. Makes me look like Schwarzenegger.
You know what? The same rule applies for muscles, because actually through a friend of a friend, their son is doing or I'm doing the arms again. Their son is doing the muscle competition, and what's interesting is they
some people call those bodybuilding competitions. If you want to get fancy,
correct, yes. So the bodybuilding competition, and the person in the competition pointed out how their abs weren't as defined. I believe their abs, and I believe also their legs. No, I think just their abs. They're saying compared to all of the rest of their body, their abs weren't defined, but their arms, legs, everything else was where they were aiming for, or was what they were aiming for. So
what's your?
Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out the point of the story, but I'm jumping ahead. Let you finish.
Well, it was just in relation of when you're saying that the overhead lighting isn't what you want, and then recalling that a lot of YouTubers have multiple sources of lighting that catch every angle and complement each other. That just reminded me of this guy who's bodybuilding. All the rest of his body is defined, but then one part is missing, and that throws off what he's aiming to do.
Well, what that means is that he was focused on size and getting mass, which I always was, right? Because I've always had a natural, so I've always got a little something going on, but yeah, I'm not a big guy, right? So as a kid, I was always trying to like lift the heaviest weights all the time. And I couldn't care less about if my abs are ripped, right? Because you got a lot of skinny guys with abs.
Right.
So your dude was a smaller guy versus if you've been big all your life.
Right.
Then you got to focus on getting that definition, right? And it's hard to have both. It's hard to have both mass and definition. But your boy right now, Professor D, as you can see, has both.
Both and definition.
Yeah, like I even have like, I don't know if it'll show on this site, but I even got like striations in my shoulders now. Like you can see under the right leg, you can see the definition, even like the lines going across.
No, I see it.
Anyway, not a bodybuilding show.
No, unless we're gonna start speaking about Megatron and his abs.
Galvatron. Okay, how are you going to link Galvatron and bodybuilding? That's it.
No, it's a non sequitur. But people will point out how there's abs on Galvatron.
Oh, you're not supposed to. Yeah, so don't say no. But it's not a non sequitur. Let's talk about which Transformers. I had some questions like this, but you just got a good one here. Which Transformers have the best abs? Now, let's go, and we gotta go back and forth. Or we can start with who's got abs, and then we can say best. So you already named one. Galvatron's got abs.
Yeah.
Let me tell you who else has got abs, which I didn't realize until I was watching Tidarium Hanger. When Mike was doing his comparison, shout out to Mike on Tidarium Hanger. Big up to Anthony, who just showed up. Anthony, I'm just talking about. You ever watch Tidarium Hanger? It's a YouTube channel. Transformers YouTube channel.
It's the first I've heard of it.
Okay, it's a good channel. I recommend it. What up, Mike? He's already agreed to be on our show, like sort of just in casual comments I've made here and there. Mm-hmm. So he'll be fun to have on the show. And if you guys remember, I've been talking about organizing this debate. Mm-hmm. Mike has agreed to the debate, and Mike and I are going to tag team. We're going to be on the same side. And we are advocating for KOs, third-party KOs, Transformer Masterpiece KOs. And we're going to debate against Tim, who you guys remember, right? Tim from Nerd Crate. Is that the name of the show? Nerd Crate.
Is he the one
with
the Motor Master? Sorry,
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Minosaur? Okay.
Yeah. I think it's Tim's Nerd Crate. Sorry, Tim, if I didn't nail it, but I think that's what it is. Also a great show. I don't watch as many of his videos because most of them are in German. But it's still kind of cool. It's kind of fun to like watch somebody do a review and talk about this stuff and play with this stuff in another language. I actually watch Chinese ones when it's like they have the figure first, right? So there's nowhere else I can see the figure. I got no idea what they're saying about it, but I can tell if they think it's really good or bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a YouTube reviewer called oh, I'm getting echo, but anyway, there's a YouTube reviewer called Kevin.
Let me turn. It's probably my fault. Let me spin already.
Yeah.
You know how spin can be a little bit mean when he tells you like something's wrong. So I'm straightening it out. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a YouTube reviewer called Kevin Liu, who's Chinese, and I actually watch a fair amount of his stuff. But yeah, it's not even in English, but it's so well shot and edited that it's like really engaging to watch anyway.
Cool.
So yeah, I know exactly.
And is he doing reviews? What's he doing?
Oh yeah, he does reviews. Sometimes he gets stuff really early just because of where he's based. Sometimes it's later, but like I always stop and watch them just because, like once again, I don't understand a word he's saying, but they're really well shot and edited, and they do a lot of like quick cuts, and it just looks really nice. So that even though I don't like I still enjoy watching it. So I know exactly what you mean when you're like I don't get it, but like I like seeing it.
Yeah. And pick up some words here and there, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so Tim and Bobby Skullface, who I talk about all the time, they are anti-KO. So we're gonna have a tag team debate with those guys. Spin, maybe you could brush up on the Robert's rules of debate, and then you could be the moderator, or Anthony, unless you want to learn those rules. One of you guys has to learn them. I don't have the time to do.
Wikipedia can be, so that would be interesting.
It's just like if you ever do like high school debate or any kind of or university debate, there's rules of like, this speaker, then that speaker, how you introduce it, how you format it, that kind of stuff.
In Queensland.
It's just a standard set so that we're following the same rules.
Yeah, and when you say third-party KOs, because the language around this can be so like vague, like you're specifically talking about like not like when a third-party company does a replica of say a masterpiece, is it like that specific version, or are you speaking more broadly?
Yeah, I didn't speak precise enough. Basically, we're in favor of Transformer KOs, and they are not. So, period. Okay. The KOs are Transformer figures. Now,
that's a broad.
Yeah.
Category.
Now, I can't speak for Tim. I don't know what like his primary focus is, but for the other three of us, me, Mike, Bobby, our primary scale, and here let's tie in today's topic. We're mostly masterpiece guys, so we have other stuff in our collections, but we're mainly masterpiece dudes. However, and Bobby's not collecting legends at all, whereas the other three of us are collecting legends. So I don't know what Tim's focus is, but I know that he has legends, as you guys saw. He did that Menosaur review of the Magic Square Menosaur. Mm-hmm. So, to your question about what gets knocked off. So if we say I said third-party KOs. So a third-party KO would be a knockoff of a third-party company.
Oh yeah.
And that is more egregious than in my opinion, than a KO of a Takara or a Hasbro figure, which is also a KO, right? But it's a KO. So basically, a KO is theft of of some kind of property, right? It's a knockoff. So theft of intellectual property. But stealing from major corporations is, of course, a different different kind of thing than stealing from a small business or from an individual.
Yeah, I call it the Disney exception.
Right. Exactly. So there could be a nuance there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like basically Bobby and Tim have a stronger case against knocking off the products from small companies than they do of large companies, right?
Yeah.
And what Mike argues on Tidarium Hangar is that the knockoffs of the Takara stuff, so for instance, MP44, right? MP44 is basically $400 US, plus or minus.
That's Optimus 3,
in
right?
Canada, that's $500, right?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say, Anthony?
That's Optimus number 3, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's double the price that the other ones were. Like, I think when MP10 came out,
Yeah.
Let me pull it up. Go ahead. Go ahead. You want to say something?
I want to say MP10 was like below 200 in Canada. Like, I know it was issued a few times, but
right, exactly. There are different iterations. How much was MP01?
Oh God, I don't know. I wasn't in Transformers at that point. That was during my retreat. But yeah, I think Optimus number 3. It was closer to like 600 Canadian.
Hold on, I'm getting some figures. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. So I'm guessing what you were, before you trailed off, you were referring to that KO of Optimus 3.0, which was like just the cab robot and not the back trailer. And I admit that did kind of tempt me because I was like always curious about that figure and all the crazy things it does, but not $600 curious, you know. There's a guy on a Discord that I'm on who describes himself as an engineering freak, and he absolutely adores the third Optimus because of all the weird design stuff it does. So, like, on the strength of that recommendation, I was like, you know what they should do? They should have a toy rental service like a library, because I was like, what I would want to do is possess that for like 2 weeks, transform it a bunch of times, and then like give it back. Experience the hour-long transformation.
You know what? That's a copyright idea. That's an idea that we should look into. So renting Transformer toys, because I mean, the one thing, you rent anything and you have to factor in its depreciation. And me coming from a musical background, I'm thinking, well, stores rent out musical equipment, you play around with it, test it out and everything, and if you really like it, you can possibly even buy that rented equipment or go in the store and buy a new one because you've already tested it out. But imagine being able to rent.
I love this idea.
Yeah.
I love this idea. I got my Optimus Prime here. I'm about to do a show and tell, but yeah, let's flesh this out though. So before I start adding on, and I don't want to like repeat a bunch of like stuff that's already your idea. So like, tell us your idea. How will this work? Renting Transformers. How could we make it a viable business?
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm interested in what Spin would know about that, because he knows about instrument rentals, right? But I imagine it would work somewhat similar to that. So I'm kind of curious about how
exactly. And you know what? And that's a good, like, just like Long and McQuaid, when we would rent, we'd have an account. We would rent stuff, and you can buy that same item that you rented.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, you also have to factor in. I mean, Lon and McQuaid's already an established company, so say if somebody runs off with like $1,000 mixer, that's nothing for them. So, but at the same time, you're renting $1,000 mixer for maybe like $25-$30 for the weekend. And they're like, we trust you with this $1,000 mixer. Give us $30, bring it back on Monday. So, what would be the same thing of like, here's a $600 Optimus Prime. How much can we rent it to you for, say, a week? And what if you run off with it? We're now out a $600 Optimus. So, I mean, in terms of
I have a solution to all those problems. So you tell me. I've already figured all this out. So before I go and say the whole plan, you tell me the parts that you have figured out, and then tell me the part that you still need to answer to, and then I'll give you the answers.
The only thing I had figured out was the basic idea.
So you have anything else to add to it, Spin, or should I just go?
I think other than just the price point, that's about it. Because I mean, anything in terms of rental is just, it's a basic system. Here's the item. What is it going to cost to rent it out? Here you go. Bring it back. Like, I mean, that's the basis of it. Now, how do we go forward with the idea?
I'm curious too about how you handle decay and depreciation, because Transformers are like that too, right? A lot of them, there's risk of breakage. If a lot of people handle it, things loosen over time. And you mentioned, I know, my parents are music teachers, so I know musical instruments are like that too. So I'm curious about how they handle that if you're renting instruments. But that's
okay. So obviously, so the answers, all these are. This is all elementary.
Yes.
Yes. So here's some other models. Think of Redbox. Mm-hmm. Did you guys have Red boxes, or anyway video DVD rental machines?
We have those. I've never used one though.
Yeah, like years ago.
Okay.
They might still.
So you remember, like after there was a period where, all the video rental stores had closed, but before streaming had really gotten a hold, there were, and there still are, these machines. They're just not as popular. You go to Walmart or wherever, and they got a machine, and you just, rent the video and you bring it back. Netflix, you guys both have Netflix subscriptions?
Yeah. Who doesn't?
So now, do you remember that when Netflix started, they also had a DVD option?
This was
you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was mail order, and the way it works is you get that DVD for free in the mail. Mm-hmm. So you have a subscription. You're paying your monthly subscription. Okay, so you basically join a club.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you can order as many movies as you want for free. So with your DVDs, you get to take maybe 2 at a time. And then you can have another DVD or another 2 DVDs when you send these ones back. Mm-hmm. And until then, you just watch a movie to your heart's content. And if you don't return it after a certain amount of time, you bought it and you just get charged on your credit card.
That is correct.
Ooh, that's a good way of handling it.
Exactly. So now, and the last, I got to throw in here car rentals, because even better than musical instruments, car rentals will illustrate the answer to Anthony's question. Mm-hmm. So, let me do the figures first.
Plus, tying in with car rentals, some of them you have to put in a deposit. So if your card can clear whatever the value is, or a certain amount.
Let me get to that. I told you, hold on. Okay. I'm going to handle all those things, but we're on pause with the business now. I'm just showing you these figures because we're gonna not drop all the threads of the conversation we start. So here's MPO1. All right.
Yeah.
2004, right? 20th anniversary. This MPO1. This was originally ticketed here at $147.99 Canadian. And then it was marked down to 125 Canadian. And Spin knows where I got this from.
I do recall.
Now, so that's MPO1, right? 2004. Now, when did MP10 come out? Do you guys know? It might have been 2010.
That sounds about right.
So he was packaged in a number of different ways, but here is the dopest packaging of MP10.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, this guy, I don't have a price tag on this, but it may have been, I still think it was under $200 when it initially came out, US.
I want to say that too.
And Canadian, was it also under 200 or maybe just over?
Yeah, just over, I think. That sounds about right to me. Because this is when I was.
So now, So there's MP10, right? And you know the scale difference. We've done it on the show before. This guy, MP01, was about 12 inches tall, whereas MP10 is only 10 inches tall. And that 2 inches makes a big difference. Now, this guy here, you know who this is?
That is the is that a KO?
This is a KO.
Yeah.
And this is the KO of MP10.
Thanks, yeah, it's 10 in 1 scale.
Say again?
It's 10 in 1's scale.
Exactly. And not only is it bigger, but it's better in every way. Like everybody who has this and who's reviewed it, which doesn't include Bobby because he's a hater. But like people who review this knockoff say that this is better than MP10, not just bigger, but it is better. Like the chrome is better, the details are better, the materials, like I've had this for years now. Like nothing is floppy on this. These are tight joints. So this KO is far superior to this, and it's sold for half the price. Now, here's this guy.
Now, is that the real one or the KO? Because I know they did a KO.
This is the real one. This is the real one.
Yeah.
But I recommend, Anthony, that you buy the KO of this guy before it sells out. It's on Show Z, and the KO version that's out, maybe there's 2 of them, I'm not sure, but the one I'd recommend has the silver legs. I mean, unless you like the white. I think the white is stupid. You know, people say the white is too inaccurate, but that's because the cartoon didn't have a way to draw silver. It's supposed to be metal. It's supposed to be silver. So I actually prefer the coloring of the KO more than this.
Yeah.
But so now Mike's point in Titanium Hanger. So what Bobby will say is you're knocking off Takara. Takara's putting all the money into this engineering, which Anthony, you alluded to, is phenomenal on this figure. Yeah, and that's why, like, as a Transformers fan, like, you guys should not go without, you know, messing with this guy. And so $500 is just not in everybody's budget. So you can get it for $100. You can experience the engineering. You don't get the trailer. You don't get all the accessories. You don't get all that stuff. But you can still experience it. And so, like, I consider that a Robin Hood type of service that these KO companies are doing for the Transformers community. Yeah. And and I think Mike makes a good argument, Mike from Titanium Hanger, that even this is not hurting Takara, because the people who are buying those KOs are either guys like me and Mike who are buying the originals and the KOs, or it's people who Takara has chosen to price out of the masterpiece market anyway. So they're not losing any sales. You know, somebody who's got the $500 is not being like, whatever, I'm just going to get the $100 KO, right? So it's people who want to test it out, or people who just don't have the money. And this keeps them in the hobby. It gets people in the hobby, it gets people in the community, gets people excited. People can still talk about the masterpiece, even if they can't have a masterpiece collection, like people with more disposable income. So all around, you know, I think the argument that against at least the KOs of the major companies, you know, I think we're going to murder them on that in the debate personally. Now, back to the business. In the business, what I was saying about cars.
I see.
When you rent cars, your company not only has insurance, of course, to cover, you know, losses, you know, stolen cars, smashed cars, whatever, but you also calculate in the depreciation with time of the cars. And the depreciation is different based on the mileage. So if you rented out this figure or this car to a bunch of people, put a lot more miles on it, then the value goes down. So all we need in order to run the business, you need more than just the Transformers collections and, the ability to mail them and keep track. What you need is a standardized mode of regularly testing the conditions of the figures that you're renting, and a standardized protocol for gauging the mileage, right? So how loose the joints are, how chipped the paint is, that kind of thing. And if you can standardize that, which doesn't seem to me like the hardest thing to do, right? You kind of just make a checklist on a paper, right? Because you got the figure, just like with a car, right? You go around, you got the thing, and it's like when you rent the car, you walk around with the guy and be like, okay, any dents? No, right? So you do the same thing with the figure. You can have just an outline of just not per figure, but just a picture of a figure. Yeah. Or actually, why not per figure? You print out the picture of a figure, and then you just circle anywhere where there's a scratch.
Yeah, it's not quite the same thing, but it makes me think of AFA grading. But even though that's usually for packaged figures, but similar idea.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you grade the condition. The difference is, it's unlike AFA because AFA it grades the figure, and then the idea is it stays in that condition. Yeah. Whereas if we were doing this rental business, the understanding is that the figure will degrade over time until somebody buys it and puts it on their shelf and then leaves it there. Mm-hmm. But I think what makes this business either viable or not viable, I think, is if there's a profit margin after the depreciation we've talked about, and considering that these things are easy to break. But the real thing it hinges on is the question of shipping. Right? So after you account for the cost to ship it to a person and then for them to ship it back, and then the cost of the depreciation of the figure. So you figure every time somebody has a figure, you figure everyone with a figure is going to finger that figure, and there's going to be a little bit of degradation, right?
Say that 5 times fast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if anybody could do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, you'd have to sit down and do that math on paper. But it's an interesting idea. And there's different models. So it could be, so the one model is pay per usage, right? Pay per rental. But the other one that might be really exciting is a subscription model. You pay $50 a month, and you get to have any 2 masterpieces at your house at a given time.
Yeah.
Right? So you could have, the incentive to the individual is, can it be at a price? I think this is where subscription really works. Because if it's you're going to rent this $500 Optimus Prime, and then we're really going to worry about, and then, you're going to put down your deposit for this guy or whatever. That's a lot of money trading hands at once. But if you got a subscription and, we can charge your credit card if that Optimus doesn't come back, $600 out of your account. But if not, you're just paying your $50 a month. And you mess with them and you keep them for as long as you want, or maybe, you have your maximum amount of time. You have your 2 months. Mm-hmm. And then you send it back and you get your other figures.
Yeah.
And then think of the ad campaigns, around spring and summer, you advertise we've got beachcomber and a sea spray available for rental, around fall, you got Hoist or someone else available for rental.
And we can do packages. We can send it out to you with a diorama.
Mm-hmm.
We can send to you. You select your scale. Do you want it in? Do you want Legends or Mainline or Masterpiece? And then we can send you a diorama, and we can send you a complement of figures from your favorite scene. So you can order the Optimus Prime deathbed scene, and you get the characters that are around him. You get the bed. You get Optimus Prime. You get to watch him die for 2 months. Then you have to send him back, or you owe us $3,000.
Feeling that will be popular around the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized the flaw with my business.
What should be what?
The whole time I'm thinking like we could run this with the figures we have, but then I realized no, you need multiple copies of
Yeah.
figure. Yeah. You can't just have a big Transformers collection. You need multiple copies of everybody who's likely to get rented. Except for the really obscure guys, there can be one that's circulating.
Yeah, and you figured you need to stress test it for what people actually want. Because my immediate instinct is people are only going to want to rent the big expensive MPs because, they can't afford them normally, or like they maybe don't want to own them. But, maybe somebody doesn't mess around with mainline figures but is interested, or, I don't know. I feel like it needs to be stress tested.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. It's good. When you first said that, like, oh, people are only going to rent the expensive ones, I was convinced. Well, you're halfway through the sentence. I was thinking, yeah, you're right. Nobody's going to want to rent the $20 figure. And it's not going to be economical anyway, because it's going to cost you, you're going to pay a significant percentage of the cost of that figure you're going to pay in shipping it back and forth. But then before you finished your sentence, I realized no, because when you're renting the Optimus Prime, yeah, you just get that figure. But in your same, like, so let's say, you've got membership at the $50 level. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's say Spin has a $100 level. You have the $50 level. At the $50 level, you get to have, any one masterpiece figure. At the $100 level, you can have any two masterpiece figures. Or at your $50 level, you can have 4 mainline figures. You see? So you pick your $50 level. Yeah, you can have this Optimus Prime, or you could have, but you don't get the whole Optimus Prime death display, with your $50 subscription. But with your $50 subscription, you can have the Optimus Prime death display with your mainline figures, because we can send you 5 mainline figures for the month. Right?
Yeah. Well,
so you see how that, like that's, I'm saying that because that's a reason why somebody would rent the cheaper figures, right? Because you would rent a bunch of them together, so you could play with them all together or display them together, and that would save on shipping because you're shipping a bunch of them. And your incentive would be, even though they're cheaper, right? Once you miss these figures, you miss them. Like, I don't have the latest blaster, like the mainline blaster that came out. I don't have that. And it's not because I don't have the money. It's because he's not out there.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think I'm glad this is being recorded because, these are some ideas that need to be put down for refinement.
Mm-hmm. And I mean,
so do we have anybody in the? Do we have any audience right now? What do you guys think of this idea? Or is everybody watching Super Bowl stuff?
Yeah. That's the danger, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to say, within the rentals, there's also some people who probably just rent to own, where they rent the figure and they really like it. They'll just either buy it out or just continue renting it until it pays for itself. However, the model's set up.
Yeah. And I mean, rent to own is
we should allow for that. We should allow for that. So there should be an option where, in between okay, you have it for as long as you want, but if you keep it for too long, we just charge you. You can have another option for a payment plan. Mm-hmm. I love this idea. We can we just put more figures in the hands of more collectors. Like, that's the mission. More fingers on more figures.
But that was a statement right there. More figures in the hands of collectors.
Is it too much of a suggestive name to call it fingers on figures? Because it does roll off.
No, I think we should play with that. More fingers, more figures.
Because it does roll off the tongue nicely.
I think more fingers. It's the more fingers plan. Mm-hmm. Children of Primus. You heard it here first.
.com.
Man, all the retailers are about to about to get upset with us.
Yeah.
See, that's what happens. They're busy watching the Super Bowl. We're coming up with ideas.
Yeah.
If people could rent to own those masterpiece figures, a lot more people would be buying them.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, probably, right? Like I said when you were gone, I was like, I was curious. I've been curious about like the new masterpiece, but not enough to like purchase one. So that's why I was like, if I could just mess around with that for a little bit. So you could even argue that, we're doing the retailers a favor because of possibly encouraging some sales.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, if we're renting to own, we're costing them sales.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they don't have to look at it that way. That's what PR is for.
You're doing PR for the manufacturers. You're not doing PR for you're straight competition for a seller. If we're only renting figures, then it's not direct competition with the online retailers, right? Because then still somebody might like the figure, decide to buy it. But if we're doing rent to own, then we're stepping on their toes, so to speak.
No, it's all about how you frame it.
Yeah.
Well, I know a thing or two about framing, motherfuckers, let me tell you. Anthony, I don't know if you saw, my lighting has been designed to make it look like I'm Conan.
Like Conan the Barbarian?
Do I look like the other Conan?
Conan O'Brien. I was like, no,
I was just going to say Conan O'Brien.
Look at this line down here. Like that line I don't recall ever having. Like this. Like I've always had the bicep, right? But this line under here, that's next level. You see that shit moving? That means I'm ready for the bodybuilding stage.
You know what? We didn't finish.
Once we get all these extra muscles popping out on top of my muscles.
We didn't finish that other conversation, and there's a question that came up in my head like a few months, actually, I think from sometime last year, and I'm like, okay, I already think I have an answer to this, but back when we were, earlier when we were speaking about Galvatron's abs, and you were saying there's another Transformer that had abs.
Yes, that's why I brought up Tidarium Hanger. Thank you. So Anthony, here's what we're doing. Now we got 3 players. So Spin has already named one Transformer with abs. It's Galvatron.
Yes.
I'm naming Cup.
Yeah.
Cup has abs. So it's your turn now to name another Transformer that actually has abs in their design.
Yeah, G1 Optimus, right there.
The most obvious, best one. Okay. All right, Spin, your turn. So we'll just keep rotating until somebody's out.
Possibly Unicron, unless that's more of his upper chest.
Oh, they glow, believe it. So
yeah, no, I think Unicron counts.
Mm-hmm.
I think Unicron counts. All right. I'm going to try cheating. The Bumblebee movie version of Optimus.
Yeah, you're right. He's over there. That is the case.
All right, I'm gonna. Looks like I succeeded with that cheating move. All right, Anthony, your turn.
Optimus Primal, because he's a jacked gorilla.
Does he have abs? I see the chest. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if gorillas have abs.
Right here, beneath the chest. It's a little bit covered up by his fur pelt, but you can see the start of him there. Hello, Mike. Does this man have abs?
What's up? What's up?
Is that which Optimus Primal is that?
That's the Kingdom one. I just happen to have him in front of me, so
I'm frozen.
All right, guys, are we accepting this or not? Do you see abs? I think gorillas only have chest definition. I don't think they have abs. You tell me.
Well,
do you guys accept it? You're not frozen, Mike. You just have a shitty connection as usual. Stop acting like it's brand new.
I'm frozen.
All right, now you're frozen. Yeah, it doesn't matter, okay? We can hear you. The point is, we're having a competition, and you're about to lose.
Does this very stern-looking gorilla look deep into his eyes? Does this man have abs?
You know, with a stern look like that, you know, you're gonna have to bring in Russian Ravage.
Yeah, they're gonna have a stereo.
I don't know.
But
Mike,
yeah.
it's not going to help you, or Lottie, it's not going to help you to log out and log in. It's the speed of your connection.
I don't know.
I mean, like,
working in my
like
house.
okay, there's pectorals, but like right underneath, you can see the start of the abs right there.
Yeah, start of the abs. Okay, all right. He's not going to, when we get to the next level, which is who's got the best abs, he won't win, but fine, you pass.
Yeah.
Or Lottie, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Don't worry about your thing frozen. It'll catch up, hopefully. Let's just talk. What we're doing right now is we are naming Transformers that have abs. All right? If you fail to name a Transformer who has abs, you lose. All right? Now, I'll tell you who's been named so far, and then you've got to name someone else. Otherwise, you're automatically eliminated. Spinister named Galvatron. Anthony named Optimus Primal. Wait, did you have two, Spin? Oh yeah. Okay. Spin, you give the summary, and then see if you can get a reasonable answer out of Orlati, which I'll give that a 20% chance.
Okay, so we started off speaking about Transformers who had abs, which was a branch off of another conversation. We pointed out Galvatron has abs, Unicron has abs. Then we also mentioned Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal. And D had mentioned
Bumblebee
Bumblebee from a Bumblebee movie. So can you?
No, we didn't say Bumblebee. No, we didn't say Bumblebee. We said Bumblebee Prime.
Wait, Bumblebee Prime.
Bumblebee movie Optimus.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so Optimus from the Bumblebee movie. So can you think of any Transformers who has abs?
See, I'm just pacing around my room looking for inspiration. I found some, but you know, this is my life. She just stays on my shoulder, and I'll walk around.
Yep.
Look at those abs, guys. Now those are some abs.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said Optimus Prime, right?
Yeah, we've already said regular Optimus Prime, as in like MP10, as in, from the cartoon.
Yeah.
We also said Optimus Primal, and then we also said this guy, which is Bumblebee movie Prime. So you can't name any of those. But if you have a different Optimus Prime with abs, I guess he's still. No, we're not accepting that. It's got to be a different. It's got to be a different model, like a model of the figure.
Well, then
character design.
So we have to. Okay, so then I will have to say Transformer Prime, Optimus Prime, and Night Guard. What's it called? Night Guard Optimus Prime as well too from Transformer Prime.
All right. Well, you just screwed up by wasting two guesses on one of your turns, but you've survived.
Okay. You know what? This is tripping me out because I'm gonna I'm gonna reboot my system and I'm gonna log right back in. Okay, guys, because this is tripping me out.
You're just annoyed it didn't freeze on a picture of you like smiling or something.
Yeah, man. Look at that bug.
Why don't you just?
Is that a bug that only a mother can love? So
yeah, what an irony after going to the store and then that purchase, and then what fails for you tonight.
I know it. All right, so I'll see you guys in about.
Hey, Orlati.
Yeah.
Orlati, listen. Are you using your phone data or are you using Wi-Fi?
No, I'm using Wi-Fi.
Okay, so what you could try doing is, one, make sure you're close enough to your router. Make sure there's line of sight with your router if you can. But you could also try shutting down anything else that's using your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I've kind of did that. Yeah, I did all that. That's why my Wi-Fi was working and all my other stuff. I shut everything down, and then I'm like, what's going on here? So I'm just going to reboot my computer, and then...
All right, we'll talk to you. So we'll talk to you when you come back.
All right, we'll see you soon.
One, two.
I think it's Spin's turn. Is that right? Or is it mine?
My turn.
A cursory evaluation of my shelves has given me lots of options, but I will wait.
Nice. Let me see if I can think of anyone else offhand. Somehow I'm guessing Bulkhead, but I could be wrong.
Look at how tall she's standing. This is a perfect cat on your shoulder. She's like,
she likes
so
to
proud.
be tall. I was walking around. She's just up there.
Basically, your cat, Battle Cat. She's He-Man.
Yeah, straight up. Like it's just role reversal.
Okay, so who's so Bulkhead? Anthony, you have to check the validity of the answer. Spin, do you want to name? Wait. Should you name which Bulkhead if there's different models?
Yeah, that'll help me.
Like Bulkhead from what?
I'm not sure. I don't recall if it's Prime or one of the, because I don't know the variations of Bulkhead, so I can only envision one of them, but I can't tell you which one.
I think it might be valid. I just found a render of his Transformers Prime version, and it's funny because he's like a big hefty character, but yet I think he still has abs. Let me just share the screen.
Look at the toy. Let's look at the. We're gonna do it by actual toys.
Oh, okay. Give me a second. It probably still holds because I was just looking at a CGI render from the wiki.
I think it probably holds.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go look at myself. You feel free to talk.
I just got to blow up an image here.
Okay.
Oh wait, what am I talking about? I got one over here. Give me a second. I have the Prime.
Well, that's funny.
RID version.
Why search for it when you have it?
Yeah.
On the Super Bowl Sunday, children of Primus. See Freestyle Sundays.
It's like, God, I wonder what actual crossover between football people and Transformers people there are, because I'm not a football guy at all.
Same here.
Yeah, all right, what do I got? I don't want to share that screen. Yeah, so this is, I don't think he's got abs. That's a big flat panel there.
That's a beer belly.
Yeah. I mean, he's played as really strong, so he's definitely like that kind of person who like there's a lot of muscle in his build. So he's like he's like built like a Samoan guy, basically. He's
like a fat wrestler type of dude.
Yep.
But, all right, so Spin is eliminated. Spin is eliminated. It's just me and you now, Anthony.
All right. Okay. I've secured visual evidence for all of these. Next up, G1 Scourge.
Nice.
All right. I'll take that. That's my point, seeing as it was my turn. So so I'm still in. I call Scourge. Now it's your turn, Anthony. Pick one.
Okay. Probably gonna have to zoom in real close because the only guy I have of this is a mini guy. Robots in Disguise Scourge. He has the same kind of washboard that regular Optimus does.
Well done. Okay.
Nice.
All right, hold on. I gotta find something now. Stop. Unless you want to keep giving me figures,
no,
you're gonna have to let me find one.
Come up with one.
Honestly, I think you might win this competition.
I got a few more.
All right, hold on. Give me a minute.
Like who knew we'd have a discussion about the abs of Transformers?
Whoa. So just like, I'm going to jump on the keyboard.
Yep.
Yeah. I got two figures that I ordered that wound up coming in tomorrow. One of them is Legacy Lift Ticket, which is the red hoist.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. The other one is Kingdom Shadow Panther, which I nearly skipped over. But I got a gift card from GameStop for Christmas, so I was like, I might as well grab this new guy and go back and grab this guy I missed with it because it was like 2 deluxes worth. So
Actually, we just saw Shadow Panther at Walmart this evening.
yeah, cool. So who you got?
I forfeit. I forfeit.
All right, let me show you.
Show us what you got, and then let's vote on who's got the best apps in all
Okay, I'm
Transformers.
going to go through a few others. People, surprisingly, Shockwave, as represented by his Cyber Battalion figure.
Okay, and that's distinct. So unlike Optimus, who probably has abs in every iteration,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think original G1 Shockwave has abs, but that's a good-looking Shockwave. Which one is that?
This is the Cyber Battalion figure. This was
and this, correct me if I'm wrong. This piece of crap figure, the knees don't even bend.
Yeah, no, like they were budget figures. They're like the size of large Voyagers, but cost significantly less than that. But this
I got something better. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say this is the only one of them that I wound up getting because they made a really good looking Shockwave, regardless of the rest of the line, right? So
yeah. So what I wanted to do, I never saw that guy in the store, otherwise I would have picked him up. But my idea would be to get that figure, which you have now, and my challenge to you, Anthony. I know you're not so much of a mechanically inclined dude. Well, I don't know that. I assume assume that. But I still recommend that you cut his legs off at the knees, and put in some joints.
Yeah, the weird thing is he does have joints there. They're just not bending knees. They're sideways swivels.
It's useless.
You see, they're on
but the good thing is that means you can take it apart there. So take it apart and then just like put in a different joint and put it back together.
Yeah, maybe. Like everything else about him, like it's not like as posable as a War for Cybertron Voyager, but he has like pretty much all the other important joints, So it's kind of a strange thing that he lacks. But anyways,
so I'm tempted to go pull out a figure that I have like to one up you on that. Where I have another figure, I'm going to reveal it on a different show. I won't do it now, but I have a figure which is like a cheap Transformer, just like that. Mm-hmm. But I plan to trick it out and make it look like a really expensive Transformer. And that's another one I think you could do that with. So I think that'd be a cool thing is take these, budget versions of Transformers. And then imagine if you took that Shockwave and you took them apart and then spray painted him with a shiny metallic purple, like a Fans Toys figure. Yeah. Right. So you paint it like Fans Toys, you add in the missing articulation, and then you have a hyper articulated, amazing looking Shockwave that was $10. And you can make it look as good as the masterpiece, which is $200.
Mm-hmm. That'd be.
I'd like to see someone do that.
I think it's plausible. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody's already done that. I've seen people mod knees onto these things before.
Yeah.
Oh, want to see more abs?
Yeah. What else you got for the abs?
Beast Wars II Leo Convoy.
I imagine there'll be lots in Beast Wars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so many of them have...
there's the organic, because they have the organic aesthetic, right? Yeah. And same thing with Pretenders. I suppose I could have named all the Pretenders, right? Especially the Decepticon ones, right? They're all demon, but anthropomorphic demons.
I mean, another Optimus, which would be cheating, would be IDW Comics Optimus, as represented by the Flame Toys kit.
Nice. Yeah. I have. Let me see that again. The Flame Toys kit.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about that. I've never talked to anybody who actually has one of those. So
yeah, I got two of them. I got him and the Megatron.
Okay, so I got some questions about those figures. So did you? So let me ask my questions before you start answering them. No, it looks good. Doesn't look as good as a version. I have a version of that guy. He's I think by Generation Toy, so it's like a masterpiece version, right? So, but that's an expensive guy. The one that you have there, you could tell us about the price. They don't transform, so I don't like that. But I'm interested to know how well articulated is he, and if you put it together, what was the process like? How long did it take you? You not being a mechanically inclined guy, was it easy? Was it difficult? So how much are they? How easy or hard are they to put together? How well articulated are they? Over to you.
First of all, before I begin, I will say I have written about both of these guys on my review side of Children of Primus, so the answers can be read there in more detail.
Link into both reviews in the description below.
Yeah, okay.
Not in the description, in the comments. It'd be cool if, like, after the show, you put it in the comments because people would like to see it.
Yeah.
I'll look them up right now.
Yeah. So I hopefully they still have. There's a few that I'm still in the process of restoring images to after the website crashed, but hopefully those guys are complete. And if not, they'll be next on the list for me to add pictures to. But yeah, so they're a little bit pricey. I forget the exact amount, but I want to say they're like maybe $40 to $50 each. You do build them
and Canadian, right? Like, you're always talking Canadian prices.
Yeah. Don't quote me on that though. I have a bad memory for numbers. But yeah, they're definitely like, they're not super expensive, but they were a bit on the pricey side compared to like a mainline Transformer.
I feel like that's how much they are in US dollars.
Yeah. Like when I'm not holding them, I could probably look it up on like Ages 3 and Up, which is the Canadian site or something. But yeah, so they took me a while to put together because I'm not much of a model kit guy. But you can do them in one night if you have a few hours. I didn't find it too difficult because they have really intuitive instructions.
Was it fun? Or was it fun for you, or was it frustrating?
Oh, I found it fun. They're the perfect type of thing to just like put a YouTube video or some music on and chill out for a few hours. So I found them pretty fun.
Nice.
Megatron required you to screw in a couple of screws. I don't know how universal that is. Like Optimus didn't. They're both covered in sticker details, so you got to be ready to do that. Like I have like a toothpick so I can like smooth them out and make sure they're in place. They're good stickers, but still, like there's a lot of sticker detail. Durability wise, Optimus feels a little bit fragile, though you can always glue.
They look fragile. They look kind of cheap now that you're holding it close to the camera.
Yeah. Though they do recommend gluing parts of them in, which I did not do because they still basically hold together. Megatron's a lot more stable than Optimus, but he was a later kit, so I'll say that. And they are both like
so maybe they added the screws for that reason so that you don't have to glue it.
Yeah. They are like really impressively posable. Like they got all the main like joints of a War for Cybertron figure. Like they both have ab crunches, they both have waist joints and wrist swivels and ankle tilts. So like they're pretty well articulated. They have swappable hands so instead of articulated ones, but they have quite a few different kinds of hands. So in terms of
let me see the maximum bend on the knee joint and on the elbow joint.
All right.
Do you exceed 90 degrees in both cases?
Yeah, he's definitely better than. Yeah, what you're saying?
Anthony, quick question: which Optimus is it?
This is Flame Toys Optimus IDW version.
Oh, and which Megatron?
Same thing. Flame Toys Megatron IDW version. Because these are both based on their comics.
Okay, cool.
So what I imagine, like, those are nice figures. Like the only thing that I would do to make those better is before you put them together, imagine if you gave them all the pieces premium paint job. So like you chromed out all the gray parts on him. Imagine if you made that chrome, and then like those legs. Imagine if you did like Fans Toys style stuff. Or Spin, can you put me on camera? Give me full screen.
Or just showing some bends.
Yeah. So like, imagine you just give him a paint job like this dude right here. Right.
Yeah.
And then, and then you'll have a $50 figure looking like, $100 or $200 figure.
Yeah, and I will say they do encourage that. A lot of the photos they take are of versions that have been painted that have been painted instead of like straight out of the box, and I think they include a color guide as well on purpose. So like it is something encouraged in the instructions. I just didn't because that's a little bit beyond my skill level. Yeah. So yeah, that is like encouraged by the box and packaging and instructions and stuff.
I'm in dark mode.
Yeah,
it's looking good. I like it.
Evil layer.
I think it looks better with the lights off like that.
Yeah.
No, it's because I'm wearing a white shirt, so it gives more of a brighter look.
Also like every time, like when I see you, like your China behind you, I'm like, come on, dude. But it looks much better like this. It looks like you have a secret laboratory behind you right now. So it's much better for Murder Prime.
Exactly. The time is coming soon for Murder Prime.
All right, we got the Retrobot reviews, and you know what, Anthony, when you said they encourage people to do that, I remember now. I've actually seen Bobby Skullface do reviews of both of those figures, and they were sent into him by a guy who does customs, and so he like painted up one of them. And so if anybody is watching this and they want to see an example of what these figures look like when they're painted up and put together, Bobby's got some reviews. So you can see that and definitely read the review by Anthony. Here's both of them right there on in our comments below. And so, Spin, did you put those comments on, looks like on Twitch, or you're putting them on each?
Yeah.
They're on each.
Okay, so on YouTube,
puts it through all of them.
That's cool.
I'm wincing a little bit because I'm clicking through them, and they are text only at the moment because I haven't added the images back. It's a slow project I've been doing. So now,
luckily nobody's watching us right now. So, by the time anybody watches this video, which is after we're famous, and then people go back and watch the old ones, the pictures will be there.
Up. Yeah. It's just a slow project. I do a couple of them like every week, and eventually they'll be complete again.
I'm hearing feedback, hey guys. Like I'm hearing feedback. Somebody got to make their.
I believe it's
YouTube
coming from Dee's side. So I'm going to take over the show just for a moment to lead our way into the main topic. So one question that I had a while ago, I think Dee would probably be able to jump on this, but everyone else can jump on it. When you see a transformer or a robot working out, doing weights and lifting weights and everything, would it actually do anything for their muscles in terms of increasing their lifting strength? Considering a machine is already set to lift a certain amount of PSI. Like, theoretically, do we believe they're actually increasing this?
It depends on how sophisticated you think they are. They are, remember, super robot life forms. So
exactly.
Perhaps their technology has advanced to the point where they have muscles.
Yeah, hold on, guys. Yeah, that feedback is really bad.
What are you on about?
I thought that was my cat for a second.
Yeah, no. She's just wandering around meowing, and I'm like, what? What? You good? Okay, but yes, super robot life forms. Maybe they have muscles. Certainly the Beast Warriors do, and the Beast Machines characters. So maybe they're sophisticated enough that is how it works at this point.
All right, good.
And I mean, certainly, like many different times throughout the franchise, they have had their strength enhanced one way or another. Like, how often will a Transformer be given some sort of altered energon substance that makes them suddenly like faster and, more importantly, stronger? Like, what's happening there? It's like, remember when Ratchet took like robot PCP and punched Megatron in Transformers Prime? Like, what did that do to him? Did it make his robot muscles stronger?
No, the only thing that I remember or that I recall, when Transformers went on the juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if you really think, when I mean juice, I'm thinking about that what's called the Energon, that special. I forgot which episode it's called again, but they took that Energon cube and it made them stronger and faster and whatever, right? But otherwise, working out, I don't recall any media, and when I mean media, I'm talking about from cartoons to movies to comic book that working out made them stronger.
I think I remember them exercising in Headmasters, but the Japanese shows were a little bit silly. Though those were the ones that really emphasized the super robot life form angle. Stop chewing on my buttons. I'm just.
So I don't know.
Let me look this up.
All I know, and I know I'm eating cookie, I shouldn't be talking with my mouth full, but it's my gimmick. Realistically, I don't think it should give them extra power. If anything, power up technology. So when they combine with somebody else, obviously the power they're going to grease, especially what's called combiners or Transformers. Which one was it again?
Headmasters?
No, not Headmasters. Well, Headmasters as well. Well, not that much with Headmasters. That means
Power Masters.
Thank you, Power Masters. Or was it Transformer Armada too, where they joined together? Like, for example, the Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus, they combined together and they formed whatever, Magnus Prime or something like that.
Yeah,
I forgot
I found a couple of screenshots. I'll pop them up in a second. But
Yeah.
There was a point in Headmasters where they were all exercising for some reason.
Yeah, or the other kind of like the other kind of exercise that I know that will help them with their skills when they're like practicing like their shooting or they're practicing like their form of martial arts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, them lifting weights, I don't think that really gave them additional powers. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Let me just share the screen here.
Or prove me wrong.
I mean, there's almost no right or wrong to such a question.
No.
I looked up Transformers Headmasters exercising, and I remember. So that's a highbrow on a machine, and then they panned over, and you could see Hardhead on a treadmill and Chrome Dome on a bike.
Wow.
And I'm like, this guy doing that.
That's funny.
Yeah, there was probably more, but those are just the first things I found with a quick web search. That was just like,
yeah, but that was the Japanese ones, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Which I will note are all subtitled "Super Robot Life Form," and they've always pushed that angle, like the fact that they're alive.
Yeah, but you see, that's part of their culture in a sense, because you know how Japanese culture they're very in tune into working on stuff like that, right? So
training.
Yeah. So again, kind of goes back to what I was saying about like martial arts, right? But American version wise, I haven't seen anything. So the only like I said, combining or the juice, one or the other.
Yeah, so I can't comment too much on that because though I believe in Headmasters they were trying to get more in sync with their Transtectors, because those were all those guys in that show were the little guys who turn into heads piloting the bodies, and I think it was all about them trying to like link up with them better.
Get better magnets.
Yeah, like get more in tune with them.
We see Perceptor.
Oh yeah.
We see Legos.
Oh, there's a product listing.
That.
There's a product listing for an Optimus Prime Lego, and people are like going nuts about that because, like, I guess that means Creo is dead.
Yeah,
it's a shame. I like those guys.
And did Mike tell you our little walk through Walmart?
No, he said that he saw Shadow Panther. That's about it.
Yeah, right behind Rat Trap.
Mm-hmm.
It was so funny because I picked up Rat Trap, and then what do you see? Shadow Panther. It's like, oh, Cat and Mouse here.
Yeah. I was just saying, it only came out because I had him coming in off of a gift card that I had. Oh, so you got the full article there?
There we go.
I do.
Possible.
Yeah, Professor D on YouTube says the headmasters could be stress testing. Stress testing and calibrating their joints and or action protocols as opposed to weightlifting. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Get better,
I mean,
like I said,
that's a good theory.
get better magnets.
This might be in conjunction with the Rise of the Beast film. Lego has been very well known not to sit on product. Yeah, because the site that leaked it was like it had like a very detailed product listing, and so people that I know that know Lego said that it looked legit. Like I don't know Lego, but I know people that do. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So they said like the full listing looked like way too detailed to have been made up. So it's probably legit. It's probably coming. They just don't know which Optimus it is, could be any of them. I'm going to guess probably G1 because, if you're only going to make one, that's probably the one that gets made.
Right.
So that's pretty crazy I was just, sorry, Mike, I was just saying that's pretty crazy for the Transformer industry in a sense of IDW losing their license.
Yeah.
And Creo, think about it, Creo, like what's Creo really known for? Like, yeah, okay, they're the ripoff of Lego, but when I think of Creo, right away I'm thinking about Transformer Legos, right? So now they're losing that. So that's another big blow there.
Well, Creo was a Hasbro thing, and it was them making their own things into Legos. So I guess now they're willing to license it out to Lego itself.
Well, it's hard not to jump on that, to jump on their bandwagon because like Lego is Lego, right?
Yeah. I have, and maybe I'll write about this at some point. I have a Lego set, and I have exactly one Lego set, and it is of Sonic the Hedgehog. And the reason I have it is because it's one of those Lego Ideas sets that was designed by a fan and like put up there for a vote and made into a legit thing. I've mentioned that before, right?
Right.
I just happen to loosely know the person that put it together, so it was really interesting to see that from start to finish.
I'm just gonna jump in for really quick. Can you guys hear my dishwasher in the background?
No, perfectly clear. I don't hear any ambient noise.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're making a. God, what I know that company, but I can never say its name. Kotobukiya, I think. They make those. Yeah. They make those for everything. They make them for DC. They make them for Marvel. They make them for horror icons like Freddy and Jason and stuff. Yeah. So of course, they'd eventually get into Transformers. They're like Funko Pops. They try and get everything. Oh yeah, Professor D says I just bought a Mandalorian Lego set. Oh, was it the Razor Crest? Because
thank goodness my son's sleeping right now because if he had read that, he would have turned around to me because I got at Comic-Con. Remember, I got the little Mandalorian Lego guy. If he saw that, he would say, "Okay, Dad, we gotta go to Walmart." Thanks.
Hey, has everybody here watched the second season of The Mandalorian? Because there's a very common joke about this. If you haven't, just mute this until I stop talking. So the Razor Crest gets blown up towards the end of the second season. So people are saying if you buy a Lego Razor Crest and don't build it, that's show accurate.
Oh, well,
because it's all in pieces.
Well, I was gonna say you can build it and then drop it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not much of. I respect it. Lego is a very interesting company, and I like what they do. It's just not my. It's just I have too many other things I focus on. And Professor D says I got the Mandalorian Forge. Oh, the place where they make the armor. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I have a Lego type of Voltron the figure that I created. What year would it have? At least back in like 1985.
Oh, nice.
Which I still have him, so I'll bring him on next week's show.
I was gonna say I think they made a real one at some point, like a Lego Voltron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now I would say if you're able to jump back in the show as we get into the main topic, because I know between yourself and Mike and Anthony, you guys would be the best ones to answer the questions for tonight's topic.
What's that? What's tonight's topic? I forgot.
Yeah.
Well, tonight's topic.
Yeah, it's so terrible.
Well, tonight's topic is basically if you wanted to recreate the cartoon line of figures and make them accurate, make the figures accurate to each other as they should be. Say in real life accuracy, what lines of Transformers would you need to buy to achieve that? So like what lines of, say, like the original 18 characters, what lines of mini bots, what lines or variations of combiners, so that way, you know, you're not ending up with the G1 sense where you've got Blaster the size of Bruticus. Like if you bought a Blaster at a certain size, what company of Bruticus would you have to buy? Like anything from Hasbro to Takara, or would it have to be third party in order for that Bruticus to be the proper size to that Blaster or any other figure?
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, my only, right off the bat, if I was going to get like combiners, it have to be third party. That's my personal, like, for example, there even like Omega Supreme, right? There's some third party out there that I'll probably prefer to buy. Now there's some like, you know, the Titan figures, like for example, like Metroplex and the Arc and Trypticon, or even Omega Supreme, right? Perhaps you can get away with those, but if you're gonna have to do proper scaling, I could be wrong, but I think right off the bat, all the combiners, you know, like Omega Supreme and the City Bots, we're gonna have to be like third party, because you're gonna have to get the biggest ones. Mm-hmm. What do you think? We'll say you, Anthony.
Well, I will say the mainline Generations and Studio series have, as of the last few years, put a really big emphasis on media accurate scale. Like Siege and Forward tries to be adhere to the cartoon scale chart, and one of the big selling points of Studio series was that it adhered to the movie scale chart. So I would say I would start there and then build it out with extras. Because I think, for example, like the 2007 movies cast is now more or less done, and they're in Studio series, so they'd all scale properly. You know, as I said in my Tigatron review, the first season of Beast Wars Maximals are done, and they're scale accurate. The G1 guys, I don't know if 84 and 85, and I think 86 have all been done now, but not all in the same line, so they might not be all in the same correct scale.
No, because here's the thing, like, so I'm going to add what you're saying, like for example, like for all the Seekers, right? So if you look at the early 2000, like 2010, right, generation, when they started to come right back out again, and then you look at the thrilling 30s,
that was in 2014.
Yeah, so if you look at those Seekers, they're all like Jetfire size, right?
Yeah.
And so that's going to be tough. Even if you get Soundwave and Blaster in vehicle mode versus their original op mode, let's just say like as a tape and Blaster back in those days, back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, then they're going to be not as proportion as the Seekers if you're taking like the Jetfire ones, right, the 330 ones, right?
Yeah.
But then if you look at the early generation ones, and even the United Warriors, they're actually smaller than the generation. Let's just say the Blaster and Soundwave vehicle modes, right? So that's really a tricky one. I do agree with what you're saying about the Studio series, and actually that Netflix did actually a pretty good job in sizing as well too.
Yeah.
But for me, and I wish Steve was on here too, because he has a lot of knowledge with third party. And he might agree with me here, but I was probably like all the combiners and those types of figure, I start with third party, and then kind of, if I was going to spend, like if I had like $100 and I had to divide it up in my money, it'd be like a good chunk of it going to third party, and then after filtering it down through maybe some other third parties or Hasbro or even Takara. And you also have the MP3s as well too that you can look at as well, right? And they cost money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think I could build like a best possible like 1984 cast that's scale accurate using both generations and the stuff that came before it, right? just pouring it over in my head, because even before they had the modern scale, the larger legend size figures, most of the mini bots were done that way, so they scale more or less correctly. And the Voyager size Seekers fit with Voyager Megatron and Voyager Soundwave from Siege and Earthrise.
Right. And then what about the deluxe?
Like
class?
all the Autobot cars were done in the deluxe scale.
Yeah.
So that works for them. The Dinobots, now that they're doing the leader sized ones in Studio Series, those are about right. There's only 3 of them out now, but it would not surprise me if they did the other 2, right? So those aren't complete in a good scale right now, but they will be. The Power of the Primes ones are definitely kind of too small compared to cartoon scale. Right. And like Jetfire just got that giant Commander class figure, so that's sized according to cartoon scale. Against like Voyager Optimus being the standard. And like when they did all the Bumblebees they've done, like the Netflix one and the Origin one, they're deluxes, but they're deliberately small deluxes because they want them to like scale with the old mini bots they did in the Legends price point.
Yeah.
So I think if you're doing, the Origin Bumblebee, who's very small for a deluxe, but he scales with the old core class guys or Legends class guys. So I think if you wanted to do all of like the first few years of G1, I think Generations and the earlier stuff has it more or less covered in scale.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would go with, just because in addition to being probably mostly complete, it's also a bit more economical, and you could probably build a decent shelf with that.
So what I probably do then is that I'll start with, for example, like Megatron and Optimus Prime.
Mm-hmm.
And find the one that I like, and then based on that size, regardless if it's deluxe or leader class or whatever Voyager class, right? And then use that as my benchmark.
Yeah.
And start building around it. So, for example, I really do like the Netflix Optimus Prime, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not a bad size either, too. And it's on the cost-effective side of things, right? So that's like, I picked it up for $60, right? And so if you want to be a cost-effective, then I'll start with him, and then go with the Generation Deluxe for for the vehicles and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then use that as my benchmark, right? And then get the Titan class, Metroplex, and also Trypticon and Omega Supreme in the Arc, right? So then that's where your scale's at. But I think you need to start with what size you want, what size you're good with, your budget, and then pick the 2 leaders. Obviously, meaning the 2 leaders like Optimus Prime and Megatron. Find those 2. You can, for example, let's just say you got money to burn and you want to get the MP3. The MPs, right? So then you get those 2 leaders, and then you start building around that. And so those are your benchmark when it comes to sizing, right?
Yeah, you'd have to go heavily into third party for that if you wanted to do like a masterpiece scale one, because those are very much they have decent coverage, but nothing complete yet, especially when you come into guys like Jazz that they have never been released because they're not going to get the license. So you have to go third party.
Yeah. And because again, how accurate do you really want to go?
Well, I was going to go back to Anthony's earlier comment in terms of the Dinobots, the one that you mentioned. Would they in a sense be like twice the size of the regular Autobots in order to scale properly?
Yeah, and see, this is a problem I frequently have because I tend to not think about media scales. However, whatever scale the toys came out in is what goes in my head first. So you want to think of the Dinobots as being like the same size as Optimus or a bit smaller, because that's what the toys usually are. But if you go by how they appear on the cartoon, they're like significantly bigger, right? Yeah. I don't automatically think of that, but that's the actual truth. So these leader class Studio Series guys that they're slowly putting out, those are actually properly scaled with like mainline Earthrise Optimus and such, who's like a Voyager.
Actually let me jump on these comments for a moment.
Yeah.
And then I'll jump back to Dinobots. So
I've been meaning to answer that.
Yes, on YouTube says I'm gonna order the soul of Shokin Voltron, but do you think I should get the lines or the vehicles if I can only get one?
I mean, if you're gonna get one, you got to get the lions.
The
I have
lions.
no dislike for the vehicle Voltron, but if it's only one that's the option, you have to go for like the iconic one, right?
Yeah,
And
I
like
feel
the
the
vehicle
same.
one's cool. Yeah, the vehicle one's cool, but like the lion one is the one that people know, right?
Yeah, so you just took the words out of my mouth because I was about to say, like, if I would say like 9 out of 10 people will know the lions, right? And then if you have the vehicles, you probably have like 6 out of 10 or something. Like it'd be like a low percentage that is that a Voltron or that Gundam or something,
it's
right?
funny because it kind of goes on that generation thing again where it's like I know both of them only because the lines seem cooler, but the vehicles were just as cool.
They were for our generation. I'll tell you this, like if I had my son, right? He's 11 years old, and I put the vehicle Voltron in front of him and the lion Voltron, and I'll say to him, which one is which? Like if I say like, okay, which one's Voltron? He will gravitate directly to the lions right away because that's the iconic one, right?
Well, but you know what? In a sense, a lot of media would kind of influence people to steer towards the lion
Fake news.
Voltron. Sorry?
Fake news.
Not fake news. But I mean, you think of it, Lion Voltron is 5 components, and like any combiners that you've seen are all 5 components. What's the other Power Rangers? Like all variations of those are like 4 or 5 components, and you don't really see many, many iterations of like a 20 component combiner that would influence you towards the vehicle Voltron.
And you kind of just stole my little thunder there because I was going to say, now imagine if you get somebody that's like, 10, 8, 9, whatever, and you're like, you have the 2 Voltron there, and you're like, and which, what are these, right? And they'd be like, oh, I think those are Power Rangers.
Yeah, well,
especially the lion ones, right?
Yeah.
They are very much part of the same lineage, especially on the Japanese side of things, right?
Right. And so it just shows how old we are.
Well, I was going to say,
I'm going to start going back to again.
If I'm only getting one Transformer from a line, presuming there isn't a Hot Rod, it's probably going to be Optimus. So he's like the same thing as the Lion Voltron,
Yeah.
I'm like, you only want to get one thing from a line. Do they have an Optimus? That's usually a good baseline, right?
Yeah.
And there you go. And that's about it.
Professor D on YouTube says, Toy World. The designers who left Toy World to start Zeta Toys established the MP scale of combiners at 20 inches. Anything shorter than that is out. Toy World Devastator is the standard. I'm not totally sure what he's referring to, but
I'm probably
the MP scale of combiners.
Yeah.
I accidentally a word. I wonder how you establish a baseline in the unofficial world. Like, it's not like there's an international commission of combiner scales that can just like lay it down like it's the Olympics or something,
No, but it goes back to watching the cartoons, right? And do we use that as our measurement, our ruler, right? And say, okay, so I have to get a Metroplex that is super huge. And like in the commercials, like for example, Metroplex in the commercial was like super huge, and you had like this little tiny star screen like flying by it, right?
Yeah.
Do I use that as a benchmark? Do I use that?
Going by that benchmark, a combiner could fit in Metroplex's hand. So like which Metroplex exists to pull that off.
Right.
Oh yeah, like the City Bots is when it starts to get super fuzzy in terms of like scale and what it should be, because
it fluctuates.
Like even in media they're rarely portrayed as like a gigantic city sized thing, like especially like G1 media, where they tended to just show them as like large guys that changed into battle stations instead of like actual cities, like they sometimes appeared as figures.
Right. Which, I mean, at that point, then you almost have to go more by the season 1 and season 2 of scale, because someone actually showed the difference of Bruticus in, I believe, the season 2 and season 3, where initially when Bruticus was built, Starscream is sitting on his shoulder. And then later on, it's like Bruticus is like the size, just slightly bigger than Galvatron.
And, you know, speaking of my continual run through the Marvel comics, they've been doing that with Omega Supreme, who the running thing that has been pointed out is he consistently shrinks a little bit every issue he appears in. Because he was initially like Titanic, and then now he's like just kind of a bigger than everyone else, but just a big guy instead of like a city bot. And eventually he just becomes like a bit taller than the other guys as like the series went on.
But we talked
how
about
does anyone
that.
not notice that?
Yeah.
No, but we've talked about that. Remember our previous shows? We said like, what is like is a Titan, like, is a C-bot bigger than Omega Supreme? Right? Remember we talked about that, right? And that's the problem, because like it just goes exactly back to what Anthony says. Like every season, you know, you start from here and then it's like, okay, all right, and then.
But I mean, that's more of a mistake, because if we're going by the cartoon, in season 3, Grimlock is standing right beside Rodimus, and they're the same height. Season 1, when they create them, everyone's looking up to the Dinobots, and then I just realized in the Michael Bay movie, everyone's looking up to the Dinobots because they're not supposed to be regular size.
Yeah. No, and then you had Optimus Prime writing what's called Grimlock, right? In the movie.
Exactly.
This is one of the reasons why I linked you to that Transformers Wiki article, especially in most media. This is like people imposing something on the classic media that wasn't really there, which is scale, right? Like scale was very fake in Generation 1 and in the Marvel comics and in a lot of the cartoons, as they often wouldn't stick to it, or it would be changed for dramatic purposes or just not paid attention to. So it's like you can make scale charts and establish these things, but it's making accuracy to something that was established after the fact, because the source material played it very loose. The Michael Bay movies tended, because they were live action, were sort of one of the exceptions to that. They tried to sort of stick to a consistent scale, but like Generation 1, like you said, the Dinobots were generally played as larger than the Autobots, but sometimes they wouldn't be, because they didn't really. Either they didn't care or they were willing to stretch it for whatever worked best in a particular scene,
Could also be costs.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely feel like Omega Supreme shrinking, the way it happens in Marvel, is like it's very much a matter of like just staging the scenes, right? Because like, when he was gigantic, that was his big debut issue where they were making a big deal about him fighting, coming out for the first time and fighting the Decepticons, and like. The issue I just read was Optimus Prime's funeral, and like they make a big dramatic thing out of the fact that he carries Optimus's body and sticks it into his coffin, right? And I'm like, and is there with the rest of the mourners, and I'm like, that was easier to draw on stage if he was just kind of a big guy instead of a city bot. So that's what they went with in that scene, right?
Well,
so like
sorry, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it's a little bit fake. So I sort of. I don't entirely ignore scale, but it's never been a huge deal for me, only in the sense of if it feels like a figure's way too big or too small, that bothers me. But I'm not exactly looking at scale charts because I'm like, they, for most of the brand's time, didn't really care, so I shouldn't pay too much attention to it.
Well, it goes, like, I like to reference back to what Mike said about Starscream and Bruticus, right? And you got to remember, in one of the episodes, Bruticus actually used Shockwave as a gun, right?
Yeah.
And if it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, how the hell is he going to pick up Shockwave after?
Yeah, and remember, Combiner Wars facilitated that, but they did that by making Shockwave a legend scale figure, right, instead of a full-sized one, because that's what was needed to have him be the right size for Bruticus to pick him up.
So it's amazing. Like, I think it all goes back to, again, it could be cost, and then the whole explanation that Anthony gave as well too, right? So now to go back to the original question, it's really up to the collector, and I really believe it's up to their budget, like what they want to do, and you got to start with your 2-liter and figure out from there. If you're gonna go with MP, Megatron, and Optimus Prime, then you're gonna have to go big. If you're looking at Netflix or Kingdom, Optimus Prime and Megatron, you got to go from there, right? So it's all about preference and budget. But if you're gonna try to be as accurate 100%, good luck.
Well, I mean,
if you figure that out, let me know. Right.
But I've seen some displays through the different forums and groups where some people have pretty much come really close to it, where they've figured out which lines of all the different Transformers to get to make it basically look cartoon accurate. Which ties in with Dee's comment from YouTube. An awesome collection / display would be Titan City Bot, example Metroplex, with new age Autobot cars, because they're all of the smallest Legends figures and they're tune accurate and scale with each other.
Yeah, nice. That would look great. Because I'm thinking I've seen images like in catalogs and with fans where like Generation 1 Metroplex was the right size to interact with Minibots specifically. So like I would see him with those. And like the same with Fortress Maximus. And also when they reissued, it was an interesting bit of unintentional good scaling, but when they reissued Fortress Maximus for Robots in Disguise, car robots in the 2000s, he was the right size to work with the Spy Changers, which were Hot Wheels scale cars. So they advertised it that way too.
Nice.
Right, and that's all cool and everything, right? But at the end of the day, if you have, for example, like myself, I have all, majority of the generations vehicles, which is like back in 2010. Then I would literally need to get a Titan Metroplex to scale with that, right? Versus, the original 84, Metroplex. Let's just say.
Well, how much would a Titan Metroplex go for?
A lot. Yeah,
I think you both said that at the same time.
Now,
yeah,
over $200.
Yeah, that's like half the reason why like people want like one of the next Titans to just be a do-over of him, just to put him out there again.
Got it.
Because as the first and oldest one, he's the one that costs the most on the aftermarket.
Yeah. And Scorponok.
Yeah.
So
Scorponok's pretty recent.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to budget. Like, what's your budget?
Right.
So, like for example, like there's some really nice Predacons, right? That sorry, excuse me, that I wanted to get, with the big wings and everything, right? And if I try to scale with that and the one that I want, it's a third-party one, then I'm gonna have to get a whole different line just to scale with that particular Predaking that I want, right? So it's tough, man. It's all about budget as well. It's not, I shouldn't say it's tough, but I'm just saying it's how much are you willing to spend? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, this is half the reason why I do Generations mostly, because it lets me get like full casts for like so in a way that I can afford over time,
So, which is funny. That kind of falls back into Beast Wars. In terms of like if someone's really trying to scale like all the characters from G1 or G2, like it becomes quite expensive. Whereas like in this case, what's the total of Beast Wars characters, like between 15 to 18?
14 in the first season, and then not too many after that, though it depends on whether you count upgrades as new characters or not, right?
And with the releases that just came out, are they basically all scaled proportionately to each character?
That's part of the selling point of the line, was that they're more or less TV show scaled. I'm popping up the two photos I took of the full cast just so I can illustrate them as an example. Well, not the full cast, just the Maximals.
Yeah, so that's Beast Wars, but we're also including Beast Machine and
Yeah. Oh, Beast Machines, like, it hasn't gotten an update line. Beast Machines was notoriously not in scale, like, at all throughout its entire line.
Right. Did they ever came out with that Megatron? You know how Megatron looked like friggin' what's his name there? Hannibal. He was on that, you know, how he's had that face and that thing, and he was like,
yes, but it wasn't very accurate. It didn't have the wires behind him. I can find a picture of it, but like it's not great. Just give me a second. In fact, keep this window open. Just find it on my browser here.
See, the funny part is, you see Dinobot. Well, it's gone now, but Dinobot is actually bigger than Primal.
Oh yeah. Here he is. But yeah, like that's how he was scaled on the show, and like I said, I think of toy scale before anything else. So I would forget that because the toys, he was a deluxe, so he was like Cheetor and Air Razor size. But yeah, he was taller than Optimus. And remember, Cheetor and Tigatron, the original toys were just straight repaints of each other, right?
Right.
But the TV show chose to make him larger and change some details on him. So like the scale in the TV show was quite different. So part of the gimmick of Kingdom was like, yeah, like this is the scale that appeared on the show, basically, right?
Optimus Primal was actually shorter. Like I don't recall that when I was watching the show that he was shorter than. I know Rhinox was bigger because even in the original he was bigger, or just as.
But yeah, like Optimus was like not a big guy initially. Like some of his later forms were, but like not in that form.
Well, yeah, when he the transmetal there, whatever you call it, right?
Yeah. Beast modes were the same thing, sort of. Yeah, let me just find that.
Why is Dinobot hitting on Cheetor there?
What, here?
Yeah.
Oh, I never noticed that until now. Wow. The answer.
Bad kitty. Yeah.
The answer to that question was that I was lining them all up and trying to get an angle where you could clearly see each individual figure, and perhaps not paying attention to how they all fit together outside of their individual looks.
But you know, I like how you said you're trying to line them all up and angle it. Okay.
Yeah.
Way to go.
That's
you
enough.
can see everyone.
You bad cat.
Well, holy sizing issues. Beast Machines. Yeah, so this was the figure they wound up making, which was like many Beast Machines toys, not great and not very show accurate. This is why people want a Beast Machines redo, because a lot that line was notorious, like at reaching like Generation 1 levels of the toys don't look like the show, right?
Yeah, because I know he did transform into that big dragon, but that should have been two separate toys, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but you're talking about his like floating head model, or like this one that he had earlier on the show?
No, yeah, when he it was like that. He looked like one big piece of metal thing with a head, and he had like that pipe in the back of his head holding him and moving him around, right? And then he had like that cage in front of his mouth, right?
Yeah, this is that one. You can sort of see it there on his head, like it was sculpted in. Like he didn't have his arms or the wires or anything.
Right. And then what happened is that as soon as he got released from that wire, then he turned into the dragon after, right?
Yeah.
And I could see why they're trying to do that, but no, I would have did two different figures, man.
Yeah, this was a case of like I'm not totally sure about the behind the scenes of it, but the toys and the show models wound up going their separate ways really early on, so they wound up like very out of sync with each other.
What is the middle like transformation supposed to represent?
Him in his cloak on the show, because that's how he usually appear. Except he had like arms, extra arms, and like wires behind him. Like I bet I can find a picture here because
I was about to ask you if you could pull that up, like his cartoon.
I'm just on his wiki article.
Yeah.
Beast Machines cartoon.
There he is.
Yeah, there he is in the corner. You can see like he had a harness that added robot arms to the sides and wires holding him up. But yeah, it's supposed to be this design with its closed cloak. It's not a very good picture of his head, but that gives you the idea of the body. I think I can find his head somewhere here.
And then there's that dragon form that
there's a close up of his head.
Okay.
That's why I was saying Hannibal Lecter there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because in universe, the main enemies in Beast Machines are an army of drones, right? And it turns out the drones are all under his command, and he's where the wires attached to his head in this helmet are the means through which he like controls them with a mind link.
Got
Yeah,
it.
but some of those clones or drones were actually, like for example, Rhinox was Tankor.
Yeah, like a few episodes into the show, he decides that he can't handle this himself. So yeah, he grabs some sparks and makes Viacon generals to also command them. But yeah, initially it's just him using this device to like control all the Viacons. And yeah, you saw the toy didn't even try to do the arms on the outside or the wires or anything.
No, it just looks like the big wings just wrapping him around them. That's it.
Yeah. So this is one of the reasons why people would like them to do a Beast Machines update now, because a lot of figures turned out this way, but they didn't look much like the show. So an update would be interesting. Yeah.
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 So, again, for scale purposes.
Yeah.
Right. Like if I wanted to do the Beast Machines.
Yeah.
That figure itself is super huge, right?
Yeah, like this was literally in universe. This was supposed to just be his Transmetal 2 form, except he'd removed some of his skin off of it because he was trying to remove his organic parts. And that toy was huge, and the show was pretty good about its scale. It was huge on the show as well, right? So this literally should have still been a giant toy because it wasn't even like a different body. It was just the same one, but now he's got that robe over top and is missing a bit of skin, right?
Trying to circumcise himself.
Yeah. Well, like this, it was one of the plot points in Beast Machines is, and it sort of came out of nowhere. So this is one of the reasons why some people aren't a fan of it, was that he started to really hate organic stuff, and was trying to purge it, and including from himself. So like that was like the latest twist in it. Like he hated organic stuff so much that he'd like mutilated himself trying to get it off him.
Yeah, that kind of looks a bit crazy.
Yeah. Like Beast Machines, for good and for bad, and some people really like this, and I'm a fan of it. It was very dark for a Transformers series in a lot of places, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I got into it a little bit, right?
Yeah. And I enjoyed it. I just know it gets a very mixed reception because it was very different and very dark and like a bit unusual, and there's a legit argument to be made that it had a different team of writers from Beast Wars, and so the characters were a little bit different, and stuff like Megatron disliking organic stuff kind of came out of nowhere, and there was a few things like that with some other characters. I still like it, but there are some criticisms to be made, you know?
Well, it's funny because like when I was watching, Beast Wars, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't watch it religiously, I just watch it here and there kind of thing, right? And then when it went into Beast Machine, I got totally lost. I was like, what the hell's going on here? What happened, right? Well, with today's technology, I can go back and find out. But back in the 90s, we didn't have these thing called the internet, right? Mm-hmm. To go back and we watched the episodes that we missed.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, spoilers for the second season, but he eventually succeeds and he becomes like a hologram, as you can see here, inside of a giant floating head.
Yeah. That's right. That head was like going around Cybertron.
Yeah, they made a tiny little figure of that later on, and it was meant to go in Beast Machines, but the Beast Machines line got canceled, so they released it in the follow-up Robots in Disguise line. And I'm just going to see if I can find a picture.
It'd be interesting. So it'd be interesting to see if like a third-party company taking on that line.
Yeah, because it would be. I mean, it would be a play set.
Sorry,
it would have to be a play set basically, because that's what it was. Like characters could go inside of it and stuff, because it was like an airship basically.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying like the whole line itself, like a third party going in there and literally just do the whole entire line, like Beast Wars to Beast Machines, right?
Yeah, but Beast Machines doesn't get as much love as Beast Wars did. I guess partially because it is like less iconic just by virtue of being the sequel, but also by virtue of getting kind of a mixed reception at the time, and also the fact that, like I said, the toy line actually didn't do very well. Like a bunch of stuff from the end of it got canceled, and then later on they just stuck it in Robots in Disguise because that line got really popular.
Yeah.
So they've been hesitant to go back to it, and so third parties would probably be the same. Like,
well, you know what? But here's a great opportunity,
Yeah.
right? To do what you just said, like go back to it and rediscover it, because I'm pretty sure the experience that I had, a lot of other people have that same experience, because you're like at one moment, like you're on this planet called Earth, let's just say, or primitive Earth, and the next minute you're on Cybertron, and you're like, what the hell happened here? And who's who? And how the Tank Corps became Rhinox, like, you know, shit like that, right?
Yeah, it very much assumes that you watched Beast Wars, but you know, it's not like a fresh start.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember, like, a lot of the episodes, there were a lot of reruns and episodes, and I didn't see a lot of reruns on YTV because that's where it was shown, right?
Professor D from Facebook says the Titan Metroplex, which we mentioned earlier, is the one I'm missing, and it passes me off. Although he didn't mean to say passes.
Like it was the first one, and people weren't sure if they were doing it again. So that's the one a lot of people tend to be like missing.
And then Professor D also says Rat Trap does not scale. Hasn't noticed, as discussed on a previous episode, because he never pays attention even when he watches the shows, as he just admitted. Murder Prime.
Does he not? Let me.
Was that his Murder Prime?
Yep.
Let me. There's a picture here under the main Beast Wars article, and it's a shot of the whole cast that they did as like a promotional poster. Now it's everybody from all the seasons, but you know it does demonstrate scale. So let me just see if I can pull it up here. Beast Wars, cartoon.
Like wiki formers here are
okay. Well, that's not the most useful. Well, actually, yeah, this is just the season 1 cast, which is what I have up there, right? Everybody's posed a little bit. So yeah, I guess so
Dinobot is bigger.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I thought he was like shorter than Prime. I had it in my head.
Yeah. So I mean, let's see if I can flip between. Let's pull the robot mode cast up. I guess Rat Trap is a little bit undersized.
Yeah, he is, because he's at Ronok's waist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe it is a little bit off.
It's great too. Yeah, but look at Tigertron's color.
Yeah. Let me find that other shot. The one they did is like a promo poster. Yeah, it's the full maximal cast. Season 1 Rat Trap is right there.
Yeah, he's about at the waist here, Ronok's.
Yeah. Where's season 1 Optimus? Oh yeah, right here.
Who's right behind Ronok's? I forgot that character.
It's Tigerhawk.
That's it.
He was from like the last few episodes. Hey, speaking of abs, like I think Transmetal Optimus Primal wins, and the toy looked like that too. Being transmetal makes you swole.
Yeah, I was gonna say what's funny is going in, like with the mentioning the Rat Trap sizing. Why didn't they make Rat Trap smaller? For the fact of, like, when you look at Ravage and Laserbeak, or maybe not so much Laserbeak, but Ravage was basically like, you know, a cat, like a jaguar's size in the cartoon. So
yeah, like a real jaguar.
Yeah, so why couldn't Rat Trap be a lot smaller than how he's portrayed here?
Because then they don't have Blaster there to house him in his chest.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Maybe it had to do with interacting with the other characters, because he was small, but he was like a tough guy. He was always in everybody's business, you know.
Right.
Come on, man. He was from New York.
Yeah, like he was.
Yes,
like
the New York
Scott,
rat.
Like I remember I watched a video of Scott McNeil explaining how he came up with the character, and yeah, he was just like a rude New Yorker on purpose, you know.
Okay.
He's also Jess's favorite Transformer ever.
Shane?
So And she pointed out when we last watched the show, he's probably the most effective Maximal. He always gets the job done. He always succeeds.
Nice.
He's not the strongest, but like he's great at problem solving and figuring shit out. And
you know what he reminds me of? And they're like military. It's exactly they're military guys.
There's both forms of him there.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's the G.I. Joe figure as well too, and I think it was Tunnel Rat.
Yeah,
and that's what he kind of reminds. Like Ratchet reminds me of that figure, like of that kind of, like G.I. Joe Tunnel Rat, or was explosive and because he was
because he
was an explosive actor, right?
Yeah, because he kept bombs in his wrists that he could use. They were like detonators.
So there you go. All right. Hey, are we going to do the unboxing thing?
We're going to save that for next week.
Yes, we're going to save it for next week.
Yeah.
But I got my box here, man.
No, next week.
Next week.
Done here.
Next week.
Okay.
Just for funsies, this is the Predacon scale chart. There's a Russian Ravage hiding in the corner.
Traitor.
We're
hold on. Where's Megatron?
There's three of them.
There's
his season 1 form, and there's his Transmetal upgrade, and up top is his Transmetal 2 upgrade.
So is that who's okay? So who's next to Megatron? Like the bigger.
This guy?
Nope. Go the other way.
That?
Yeah, that's
Rampage. Protoform.
That's Rampage.
X.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Oh, he's bigger, eh?
Yeah. Well, he was an Ultra, so, and he's supposed to be like the indestructible experiment that went wrong. So, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just kind of looking at everybody.
Yeah. I mean, these were posters they did after the show was ended. So like, I think they sold these at BotCon or something, and people just like them because it's a photo of everybody together. Not just that, but like every different body that everyone had on the show together.
Hold on, sorry, who's the one in the white again? That's not Megatron.
This?
Yeah.
That is the cloned Dinobot who was a Transmetal 2.
That's right. Okay.
They brought him back. He's got a little cyborg eye now. He's got like skeletal stuff all over him.
They're gonna blow it up a little bit.
Yeah, he got a bit bigger in the process, right? He was a clone, right? So, like a Frankenstein-y clone, and that's the direction they took with him.
That's
it's
amazing,
a good show. You should watch it. Everybody should watch it.
Look at Rocky, and she's on like both pages.
Yeah, because she started out as a Predacon and then switched to the Maximals, and then after she switched to the Maximals, got an upgrade later on.
Traitor.
I mean, to be fair, the show never stopped playing her as out for her own interests. She just very much realized which way the winds were blowing,
Mm-hmm.
So, I was going to say, so you're telling me at the end of the day, I'm just kind of recapping here.
Yeah.
Beast Wars figures basically got it right, I guess you could say, or almost right, versus
Kingdom got it really,
then regular Transformers then.
Yeah. Like the Kingdom Beast Wars guys got it pretty close, but also like the main line they're a part of, War for Cybertron, it all got it pretty close because their dedication was to cartoon scale. So like it's part of their mission statement, and just this little mini collection in the middle of it's a good example of it. Oh yeah, and Professor D said there's a big MP scale third-party version of that Red Dragon Megatron. If I were to only own one Beast Wars figure, that Red Dragon Megatron would be it. Yeah, I've seen that at like TFCon. It is a sweet-looking figure. It's this gigantic replica of his red Season 3 body.
Nice.
I bet I could just while I got a browser up.
Browse around.
Browse around.
Jump up, and get a new tab.
Browse.
Third party Transmetal 2 Megatron. There's a few of them. Is it this one?
That's nice.
Yeah. Metal Beast? I think so. Because they did a couple of them, and I think this is because like
I like that first one.
Yeah. I think this is the
That
one.
Yeah, that's pretty
JX
sweet.
figures, Winged Dragon. Yeah, Winged Dragon. Yeah, so this is the guy. Is this I'm looking for a good product page because those always have all the shots.
Let me say how much would that figure go for?
Well, let's say $239 American dollars according to his Big Bad Toy Store homepage.
So $239,000 Canadian.
Yeah, just add a few zeros onto the end
plus tax.
Yeah, looking for a good picture of his dragon mode here. Yeah, there we go.
Inflation.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Yeah, that's nice, man.
Yeah,
that is nice. I have to. You know what, Dean? Good pick.
Yeah. Now he is the rumors that usually turn out to be true historically have said that he's getting a figure in Legacy, the next generation's line. I'm sure it won't be as nice as this, but it will also not be $239 American dollars. So I guess they're just skipping ahead to doing some season 3 guys, presuming that rumor is true, which it probably is. I forget when I minimize the window, it makes that go white.
Oh, but that is nice. I even like how the flames coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, has a fire effect part, and I think he had an ice effect part too. Yeah, because he could do both on the show.
No, that does look very nice.
Oh man, but you know what? I need that, guys, because especially when my back is hurting, I could do some icy hot.
Yeah, this is basically because this is basically just in terms of Beast Wars. This is his final boss form, basically.
Final boss form.
Yeah, final boss form. You know.
No, but I'm just saying the way you said it, it's like I'm playing a video game here.
Yeah, this is the guy you got to beat at the end of the story, right? That's straight up its role, you know.
Final boss fight.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing Ninja Gaiden or something.
Yeah.
Or Double Dragon. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I mean, if you don't care about spoiling, I can explain the really cool reason he got this upgrade.
Spoil it, man. Who cares? It's not like
he took the spark of the original Generation 1 Megatron and put it inside of him temporarily, and its power is what upgraded him into this.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So he took the juice then. Is that what you're trying to say?
He what?
He took the juice.
Yeah. The Generation 1 Megatron juice. And for some reason, that turned him into a gigantic, powerful dragon. So.
Let's think about this for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand it's called Beast Wars or Beast Machines. Okay, so before anybody says anything or comment.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, if you like the show, comment below and hit the like button, smash it, hit it, like it, whatever, and subscribe. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. If I was going to take the original Megatron spark and juice me up, okay, and he was already a big blob being on a hoist with wires and a head with a cage on it.
Yeah, that happened after this. Remember?
No, I get that. No, I get that. But I'm just saying, like, wouldn't he turn into like some big kind of cannon or something like that? Versus, especially he doesn't want nothing to do with beast or organic.
Yeah,
right.
Well, that also came later, right? It's a little vague, but we understand that because of time travel shenanigans, a lot of time passes from Megatron's perspective between Beast Wars and Beast Machines. So somewhere in that gap, he decided he hated organic stuff. That wasn't his opinion during Beast Wars, right?
Yeah, but this happened when? Beast Machines?
This happened towards the end of Beast Wars, like the 3rd season of the show.
What, when it turned into a big dragon?
Yeah.
I thought that happened near the end of Beast Machines.
No. He got this body in the 3rd season of Beast Wars, and then At the start
Okay.
of Beast Machines, he still has this body, but he's mutilated it a bit and put the control suit on.
So he was like undercover.
Yeah.
He was ashamed of his body.
Yeah. And it's worth noting that, yeah, it doesn't look very G1 Megatron-y, but like that's also because the toy was just designed first, and then the show people came up with that story.
Yeah.
So it wasn't designed with the idea that it was going to be him with some of old Megatron's essence in mind. They were just like, let's just make him a cool dragon, and the show guys will come up with something,
Okay.
you know?
Again, I get it. Beast, Wars, Beast.
Yeah.
I get it, right? But I'm just saying they should have added at least a little bit, like for example, a fusion cannon on his arm or something.
Yeah.
Just to give that a little bit of homage, right?
Yeah.
Oh well, it's all hindsight, right? So
yeah, I mean, certainly when I was watching this in the 90s, I didn't care that he didn't have a fusion cannon. I was like, cool, he's a giant dragon now, and he's really strong.
So we got Professor D here saying on YouTube to spin main question. 3P Winged Dragon will scale better with your mainline Beast War guys than the upcoming Legacy version will.
I don't know how he scales, so that might be true. Certainly, like looking at the scale photo here from the wiki, he did like kind of tower over everyone else. So yeah, he would have to be like a commander or something in Legacy, and I don't think he is. Otherwise, we'd probably know that. Though he is hovering there, but still, he's supposed to be big.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna find out hopefully soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
And okay, so should we do like a under over right now for how much this figure will cost Canadian?
Well, we know it depends on what his price point is. The rumor is that he's going to be a leader class figure.
Okay, so what do you think? If he's a leader class figure, under over, what are you thinking?
I don't know. Let me look up what a leader class.
No, don't do that. Just say it right now, man.
Because it's whatever that is.
Listen,
it's a stable price point unless they jack the price up again.
Hold on, a friendly. Oh, sure it is. Come on, just inflation. A friendly bet. Don't type. What do you think? I don't want to hear clicking. Come on, don't cheat.
Click.
Someone cheated.
Click.
Holy crow. Under over $100. Okay, no, hold on. Let's just say $90. Is it going to be under or over?
If you're talking about the legacy figure, I'm going with under.
Okay, so we got Mike Spin saying over, Anthony saying under. If it's going to be big, I'm going to say $1, $89.99.
Price is right.
Come on now. No, I just say under by like a penny.
Oh yeah, like I'm not gonna.
I'm talking about price. I'm not including taxes, okay? Because obviously.
Oh yeah, if you're not including taxes, definitely under $90.
Okay, so $89.99. What are you saying? So Mike, you're saying over $90?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying $79.99 at the most. I think.
Okay. I bet your American friends are saying, "Why are they doing $79.99?" Because
everything.
Taxes in Canada.
Everything costs more in Canada.
Yeah. You know,
way more.
But you know the funny part is, so check this out. I have family that came over from London, right? And London, England, right? And they didn't realize that the prices that they saw here in Canada, you know, that wasn't the actual price. You know, because the prices here in Canada, they show you the price, but they don't show you the price with taxes, right? In London, England, whatever price you see, regardless if it's retail or whatever, that's what you're paying. So it was so funny. He went to go buy coffee, right? So, you know, he sees it for 99 cents or like whatever. And the guy's like, okay, $1.13, right? And he started arguing with me. Well, what are you talking about? It says 99 cents. Why are you charging me $1.13, right? So I would prefer something like that. I like that system.
Professor D, in regards to that comment, I'm going, let me win this by that.
Yeah, okay, Professor D. on YouTube. Orlati is either not listening to Anthony or he does not understand the fact that it's generation class and pinned to specific price point. It sounds like D's not listening to what I was just saying, and that was called just inflation, right? That has, raised the price on everything here, all kinds. They're saying by within a month, gas is going to be like $2 a liter.
Yeah, it's supposed to be $1.60 tonight, and I'm like $1.60. Like,
right.
I remember the last time gas went crazy prices years ago. Was actually just when we were going on tour. Was the first time ever that gas was hitting the 140s, 150s. Right. Now we're hitting 160.
And so and when price hit like 160, that's when I got rid of my SUV, right? Because I couldn't afford friggin' gas at that price. And if they say Russia attacks, Ukraine, that's where they're saying prices are going to go over $2 a liter.
Mm-hmm. Well,
economics, dude.
Just a couple of weeks ago, when I was with a contractor, we went in one of the popular hardware stores, and we're looking at 2x4s, and I had to point out to him, I'm like, are 2x4s usually between $7 to $9? And he's like, no, they're usually $2 something. And I'm like, yeah, are usually $2. I think the most $3. I don't think I've ever paid $3 for a 2x4. Now they're between $7 to $9. And then like, this isn't like, the difference of like, say 30 years. Like, it's always been between, it was always like a $2 item. So how is it almost $10 now for one piece of wood?
And that's why when you go buy something, you got to say, hey, aren't we family?
Yes.
That's a little inside joke. Mike will explain that to Anthony later on.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I need to get going soon because I got to go grab Jess. Yeah.
Yes, it is the 11 o'clock hour.
I left her where the football was, and the football's been done.
So,
okay.
Are we talking about soccer, or are you talking about American football?
The American football.
Oh, okay.
Super Bowl, yes.
Oh, Super Bowl today?
The superb owl.
Oh, wow. I'm only doing this purposely for our American friends, so when they see this video, they're like, you bastard. Yes, we watched Super Bowl, we watched halftime, where I was reliving my youth with the 90s there, so
yeah,
it was a good show.
I got to go back and watch it. So a quick rundown of what we expect for reviews for tomorrow and possibly Friday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Friday's on. Now, I will note, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. I'm doing stuff with Jess, right?
I don't want my
mostly ready to go. If I don't have time to do the last 10%, I'll put it out on Tuesday.
Okay.
But it's probably tomorrow. Kingdom Waspinator, the next guy in that series. Everybody's favorite goon who existed to just get owned and gooned so well that he survived 3 seasons of the show because the fans loved him and didn't want him to get actually killed off. He gets his Kingdom figure. We get to see how he is.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice.
Friday, I don't know. I might. It's definitely getting in. You're getting into the weird stuff now that I'm almost done with things, right? So
right.
Pull something out of the archives. Maybe I'll. I don't want to promise this because I'd have to edit it a bit. Does anybody remember the Unrustables? I had a bunch of them when they came out, and I did a review of them. Maybe I'll put that out on Friday.
The Unrustables.
It were a third-party boutique toy line that was Transformers adjacent because it was made by Mass Toys before they went out of business, and it was a bunch of Voyager scaled masterpiece motorcycle combiners, all original characters, all very interesting. They didn't get very far because then Mass Toys imploded and took them with it, so it'd be an interesting retrospective. If I can get that into presentable shape by Friday, I'll put that up as my retro review.
Okay, so hold on. So are you saying like, let me get this straight. So you're saying like any name brand motorcycle company like Harley or?
Oh no, these were like futuristic motorcycles.
Or so like the Junkions kind of thing, or
yeah.
Just...
In fact, their original figure was orange, so it was very Junkion-esque.
Okay, so but they're not based on the Junkions, but just futuristic motorcycles then.
Yeah. Professor D, I'd love to see your Unrustables. Oh, I don't have them anymore, unfortunately, but like I did make a review of them back in the day. So
But you got photos of it, right?
yeah. This was at the point where I was collaborating with Venomously Addicted Photography, who did give me permission to repost any photos that he took for me. So they might be his photos on the review, which is, you can check them out on Instagram and on Facebook.
Give him credit. Give him a little plug.
Oh yeah, I plug and link at every review of his I repost. So
okay, there you go.
Yeah, great guy. Takes a lot of good figure shots. At the time, me and him were like, he was doing the shots for the things I was writing.
So someone trying to peek behind the curtain there, Mike.
Yeah.
Don't look behind the curtain.
Oh, Professor D says I met the guy who designed them. Yeah. Like, I remember one TFCon, I got to see some of the prototypes for the figures that didn't wind up getting released. And that was a tragedy. They were going to do a special repaint of one of their motorcycles as Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe mech, and it was real cool. Never came out. The prototype was right there, like, at TFCon.
Snatch it. What's wrong with you?
Well, at the time I was like, oh, well, this is not going to get canceled and the company is not going to go out of business. So this will be a thing I will eventually be able to purchase,
Mike, we got to rub more of that genovision off of him, man. Seriously. If you see something like that next time, people, I'm not trying to promote stealing. It's not good for you.
But let me promote
It's very
stealing.
bad. But if there's an opportunity... If there's an opportunity, what is it? It's 1/10 of the law or something like that. Possession, I don't know.
The views of each of the hosts are their own and do not represent everything.
Whatever that guy's saying.
Yeah, whatever that disclaimer is they put in front of like commentaries and stuff.
That guy. That guy. Okay, that's awesome, man. All right. So there you go. So we may have the Unrustables, and we got what's called Waspinator. Where can you find them?
And on some boxings for next Sunday.
Yes, I had my box ready.
Put it away. Put it away.
Like,
next Sunday.
Yeah.
Hey,
and you can find it all on Children of Primus.
Hold on.
All right.
I was just going to say, people are asking, why is he showing that kind of box? It's because I got a guy. I got a hookup. That's all I got to say. All right. Yes, you said it. childrenofprimus.com, where you can find great articles by Anthony, our famous writer. Not just only that, you could also find some other news. We're our one-stop shop, so you don't have to look around, search the webs, the interwebs.
Mm-hmm.
You got everything there at childrenofprimus.com. And not just that, there's a free classified. I don't know how many times I got to tell you people this. Post, search, buy, sell, trade, talk to each other. I don't know what else to say. Like, seriously, people, honestly. Don't use it. I don't know. Or use it. It's up to you, man. But it's free.
Do it.
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
That's it. Do it. You know what we got to do? We got to put Ben Stiller?
Ben Stiller.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And Sketchy Hugs there when he's there, like, do it. Do it. Come on, do it. Use the classified. It is free.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many shows have we done already? 20, 24, 25? It's free. Okay. Anything else you guys want to plug?
Just be excellent to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's free.
Transformers should be fun. Make sure you're having fun, and if you're not, check yourself and see why you're not having fun.
Because you're not using the free site.
Yeah.
I don't know how many
they're not having fun.
This.
They're not having fun because they have GoBots.
You know what?
I knew it. You know what?
It would have been funny if we cut the feed right there. You know what?
You know what? Hold on. Wait. You know what else starts with F? Instead of fun?